What's good, everybody? Emerald Knight Leon back with another deck analysis, and the time has come. Marcus and Shinegreymon have reached their full potential. The meme of Marcus for game has been fully realized, and let's talk about that. Now, for our Digi-Eggs to start off with, we are running 5 Digi-Eggs. You can change the ratios of this however you really want. I prefer running 4 copies of the BT9 Koromon just because that extra 1k DP can come in handy when needed. And by the time you're attacking with your Shine Greys, I don't really feel like the draw 1 matters at that point. We have a lot of other ways to draw. Into our Digimon to start off with, we're running nothing but Agumons. These are all the new Agumons from the previous sets. There are other ways you could go about this. For starters, the Geo Greys have a gimmick where they can Digivolve for a reduced cost onto an Agumon with Dinosaur in its traits. That means that specifically Marcus's Agumon, the Agumon that we see here with the arm wrappings, I guess? Yeah, arm wrappings. This is specifically a dinosaur for some reason. Does the arm wrapping signify it as a dinosaur? I don't know. But it is a dinosaur. Now, if you wanted to run a reptile Agumon, specifically, I will go into this right now, you would need to run a Agumon X antibody, which does become a dinosaur. Agumon X antibody can be useful because it does search for Greymons, but that means you're losing out on some other stuff. To start off with, the new Agumon from BT13, all of these Agumons digivolve for 0 on a Koromon, but if it's digivolving on any other red or yellow Digi-Egg, it's a 1 cost. So there's that. Its main phase effect, once per turn, one of your Marcus Daemons is also treated as a 3k Digimon for the turn that can't digivolve. It's inheritable. During your turn, once per turn, when one of your red or yellow tamers becomes suspended, you may delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3k DP or less. This is the same inheritable that we see on the new Geo Greymon. And this is a pattern you'll see, where I'll talk about the inheritables for an Agumon. It's the exact same thing as their corresponding Geo Grey. Speaking of inheritables, Agumon from EX4, its inheritable that it shares with its EX4 Geo Grey is when one of your red or yellow tamers becomes suspended, draw 1. Its start of your main phase effect is actually also the same, where if you have a red or yellow tamer in play, gain 1. For our last Agumon, its inheritable is during your turn once per turn, when a red or yellow tamer becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn. And then its on-play effect is reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with Greymon in its name, and 1 Marcus Daemon among them to your hand, place the rest at the bottom. For our Geo Greys, as I mentioned, the corresponding Geo Greys do have the same inheritables. BT12 has the DP reduction, but it also has a when digivolving. If you don't have a Marcus Daemon in play, you may play one from your hand without paying its cost. EX4, which we are running 3 copies of, it has the same start of main phase. If you have a red or yellow tamer in play, gain 1 memory. And then our new Geo Grey from BT13 has the most unique effect in that when digivolving, search your security stack and reveal 1 red and or yellow tamer card and play it without paying its cost. If you played a card, recover 1. Then shuffle your security stack. So how this is going to work, depending on if the wording changes or not, as this is the sample version, is that if, say, for example, you hit 2 Marcus Daemons, you can play both of them because one will count as a red tamer and the other will count as a yellow tamer, since they're both red and yellow. For our level 5s, we are running only 7 copies of 7 level 5s. You could change this around to make it 8 copies. I know some decks are running other Rise Greymon variants, which we'll talk about in a bit. To start with, though, we are running 3 copies of the BT12 Rise Greymon. This has a 3 cost to digivolve on Geo Greymon, which is shared with all of its other Rise Greys. If you have a yellow or red tamer in play, gain 1 memory. And then all turns once per turn, which is also shared as it's inheritable. When one of your tamers is deleted, place 1 Marcus Daemon from your trash on top of your security stack. This effect is also shared with the inheritable for our new Shinegreymon, as well as its regular effect as well. But this Shinegray has a new, when digivolving, you may play 1 Marcus Daemon from your hand without paying its cost. This is actually very nice. For our level 6s, we are running 4 copies of the good Shinegreymon from BT12. 3 cost from digivolving onto a level 5 with Shinegreymon in its name, which means you can digivolve it for 3 onto a Shinegray X antibody. When digivolving, for each yellow and or red tamer you have in play, one of your opponent's Digimon and all of your opponent's security Digimon get minus 3000 DP for the turn. And then during your turn, all of your Marcus Daemons get plus 3000 DP and security attack plus 1, which is very nice. The standard combo you've seen with Marcus is you're going to use the 4-cost Marcus, promote it, bring it as a hybrid, natural hybrid, I guess, if they ever decide to make a Digimon cards based on the bio hybrids from Data Squad or Savers, where he swings, you're going to use his effect to digivolve your Shinegray into Shinegray for free. He's going to get plus 3000 security attack plus 1, and then all of the security Digimon are going to get minus 3000, meaning he has more chances to survive. We are also running 2 copies of the BT13 Shinegreymon, where it has the exact same kind of Digivolution requirements. 3 from a level 5 Digimon that contains Shinegreymon in its name. Start of your main phase, and when digivolving, one of your Marcus Daemons is also treated as a 3000 DP Digimon that can't digivolve, and it gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. All turns once per turn. When your red or yellow tamer becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6,000 DP for the turn. This is nice, but honestly, most people are going to just run 4 of with the BT12 just because that when digivolving and the your turn effect are vastly superior. Finally, the head honcho of the deck, Burst Mode. We are running 3 copies of Burst Mode. Like most of the other Burst Digivolutions, it is a 0 to Burst Digivolve from Shinegreymon by returning a Marcus Daemon from play to your hand. At the end of the turn, trash the top card of this Digimon, basically reverting it back to Shinegreymon. The part about this card that is better than a lot of the others, in my opinion, is it's when digivolving. When digivolving, you may play 1 Marcus Daemon from your hand without paying its memory cost. The tamer played by this effect is also treated as a 12,000 DP Digimon that can't digivolve and gains Rush until the end of the turn. So how that plays out is, let's say, I don't know, you have Shinegreymon, alright? You bring out your Marcus over here. He then gets played, promoted to a Digimon, swings, uses its effect, digivolves Shinegray into Shinegray, security attack plus 1, he survives, return Marcus to your hand to digivolve your Shinegray into Burst Mode. It's already suspended, it goes back to your hand, then gets replayed, gains Rush, and is promoted again for another round of security attacks. Just the way this deck can go off is kind of insane at times. But it also has your turn once per turn. When one of your tamers becomes suspended, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So that's a thing. That's a thing as well. For our option cards, I am running 3 copies of Shining Blast. Now, you could run the Sunrise Buster, but you would only be able to run 1 of it. I prefer Shining Blast because Shining Blast, if you're using it to play specifically the new 5-cost Marcus, will let you get minus 2,000 DP on 3 of your opponent's Digimon. Plus, due to Marcus's effect, as his on play lets you suspend him, and since he becomes suspended, one of your opponent's Digimon gets an extra 3,000 minus, and then gaining a memory if you have Agumon or Greymon, which then if you have, like, if you have, say, like, the BT12 lineup of Agumon and Geo, that's an extra 4,000 minus onto one of your opponent's Digimon. So two of your opponent's Digimon will get minus 2,000. One of your opponent's Digimon is going to get 9,000 DP reduction. Just from that alone. So that's a thing. And if you already had, say, this Shinegreymon, the BT13 one in play, that's an extra 6,000 on one of your opponent's Digimon. Just because. Finally, our last Marcus, though. This one lets you promote him for 1 memory into a Digimon for the turn. With 3,000 DP, he can't Digivolve, but when he is suspended, either through attacking or by some other effect, during your turn, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a yellow card with Greymon in its name for free. That is a thing. That is how a lot of previous incarnations of the Shine Gray, basically from the last few sets, would warp their way into Shinegreymon, is just by swinging with Marcus in order to Digivolve into Shine Gray for free, and then go on from there. 4 cards you could tech in. Now, I want to add something quickly right here, actually. First off, let's see. I do have that, okay. First off, one card that I actually... here's the thing. I am adding this specifically because in previous iterations of the deck that I have made, I actually ran a bit of tech that I liked. Alright? And that is Geogreymon security into Skullgreymon from EX1. Now, I never got to make a video on this, and it makes me sad, okay? So I gotta give a shout out to my Skullgreymon because the tech worked. How this works is you have, say, an Agumon in trash, okay? It is a BT12 Agumon here. Let's go with that, okay? You aren't getting your Shinegreymon yet for some reason. You haven't found it in your deck. It could also be the Agumon X Antibody. You need to keep your back row safe. So what do? Well, just so happens your opponent hit your security, you got Geogreymon. Awesome. What do I do with this? Let's Digivolve into Skullgreymon. Go in from some early aggression to Digivolve. 2 checks. It dies on the first or even the second one. Who cares? Its on deletion effect occurs. It survives, its on deletion effect occurs because its end of attack deletes it. You can play an Agumon from trash suspended, meaning you get your Searcher Agumon back in play. Yeah, he probably won't survive the next turn maybe, but you still get to search while keeping your back row safe. This is something I kind of wanted to give a shout out for because I wanted to try the tech, and the tech worked. Would it work in this set, in this new, kind of perfected version of it? Maybe? I mean, it's a one-off thing, unfortunately. It can't Digivolve into your Shinegreymons, unfortunately. It's really only there as a stopgap measure if you're not able to get your Shinegreymon yet for some reason. But it is something I wanted to give a shout out for. Now, other cards you could tech in. As I mentioned, Agumon X Antibody. It is a Searcher. It is a Dinosaur. It works. You could also run the Starter Deck 7 Agumon for the plus 2,000 DP when attacking a player. That works as well. Security Geogreymon, as I mentioned, is a card that worked well with the Skullgrey tech. But its on-play effect is nice too because you can delete a 4,000 DP Digimon. For other level 5s, Risegreymon X Antibody is a nice card, especially if you're going to use it when Digivolving, which lets you play a red or yellow Tamer for free. So you can play the 5-cost Marcus. And then if Risegreymon or X Antibody is in its Digivolution cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets 2,000 DP minus for each red or yellow Tamer you have in play, which can stack up a lot. Which reminds me to add another thing to this pile. Joy. How can I talk about this when I haven't mentioned the EX4 Rise Grey? Rise Greymon, EX4. It's an okay card. I personally don't think it's the best card for the deck as of now. It's inheritable is nice, as it does give one of your opponent's Digimon and all of their security Digimon minus 4,000 DP, which can increase the survivability of your Marcuses. Especially if you Digivolve it into Shine Gray through Marcus's effect, so that your turn effect will occur. However, I just feel the other Rise Grays are better. Even X Antibody is better in my opinion. Finally, Shinegreymon Ruin Mode. A lot of people love this card. A lot of people who run Mastemon love this card. Because it is a level 7. So you can Digivolve it on top of your Mastemon. It's purple, yellow. Works for the deck. It's great. Yeah, it's a 5 cost. Who cares if it's a 5 cost? Who cares? You don't need to care, because when Digivolving, all of your opponent's Digimon have minus 5,000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. On deletion, until the end of your opponent's next turn, all of your opponent's Digimon get minus 5,000 DP. If you're able to stack up enough memory to go into it during your turn, attack, end of attack, delete this Digimon, one of your opponent's Digimon, and one of your opponent's Digimon, and recover 1. Then if you have a Tamer in play, hatch 1 Digi-Egg to an empty space in your breeding area. So that is minus 10,000 onto all of your opponent's Digimon, killing one of your opponent's Digimon, regardless of level, and then hatch a Digi-Egg if you have a Tamer in play, which you probably will. It makes sense that a lot of Mastemon players would love this card. For option cards, Gravity Crush is a great card. A lot of people are using it in certain decks just for that edge for the win scenario. I can say the exact same for Blinding Ray. The only issues these two have is if they are found in security, they do nothing. They go to your trash. Oh well. Red Memory Boost and Yellow Memory Boost function the exact same way. Just pick your flavor, I guess. Sunrise Buster is a one of, unfortunately. Just because of how Crossheart kind of abused it to a large extent. But it basically makes one of your opponent's Digimon get minus 3,000 DP for each yellow and or red Tamer you have in play. ADP, just to prevent you from checking any option cards that will bounce your Digimon or de-Digivolve them, which would suck. Crimson Blaze deletes all your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less, and then its cost is reduced for each Digimon your opponent has in play. And then they can't play Digimon by effects until the end of their next turn. And then Offensive Plugin. Now, the reason I have Offensive Plugin as a possible tech, it gives you Security Attack +1, which is nice. But its security effect is what I love. It lets you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Tamer to your hand, and then add this card to your hand. So you can fish for your Marcuses. Finally, and I say this, in the event that Marcus gets... excuse me. In the event that BT13's Marcus gets restricted, which honestly, I don't know why they would restrict that one when the BT12, in my opinion, is the worst of the offenders. You could just run this Marcus. Yes, it's also a memory fixer, but it also lets you gain memory, which if you combine that with the BT13 one, if it doesn't get restricted, just gives you 2 memory. It's just an idea, honestly. But that is it for this deck analysis. I am excited for Marcus. I'm glad the meme is finally realized and it's at its full potential. God, am I going to be annoyed if I see it too much. But, you know, that's just the game we play. You know, you gotta take the good and the bad and you gotta roll with it. But I hope you enjoyed this. Leave a like, comment, what do you think about this deck? What would you change? Do you have any interesting tech that you would use with this deck? And I will see you all in the next video. Peace.